SicEm365 Radio.
And Prescott on the keeper, walks in, touchdown, Dallas.
It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
All right, Mickey Spagnola is in the beautiful Oxnard, California for his, I think, 35th. How many training camps, Mickey, for you?
If I count last year, and I guess it was a training camp, right? This should be 36.
36 for you. I saw where Brad Sham's been in 40+. I don't even remember with what it's been with us. But let's get to today's news. They kind of got more serious about life today with football. And then again, the first few days are not quite everything. So any of the news about players who were on physically unable to perform or why surprise you?
No, not really. I think, a couple of those guys had not been practicing in the OTAs and the mini camp. So I think out of an abundance of caution, they put them on the active PUP list. And remember, as soon as they can pass a physical or pass their conditioning test, they can put them, take them off the list. So it's kind of just a precursory move. And again, think about it. These first 4 practices, they're basically mini camp practices. So, DeMarcus Lawrence didn't need to be out there after having a wrist surgery and Amari Cooper foot surgery. So they give these guys a little extra time to come here and rehab and not have to go through practice. So, yeah, I don't think anything came. The only one that I think was surprising, and we didn't know, and I thought it was curious that Greg Zuerlein wasn't in any of the OTA or minicamp practices, or not even on the side kicking. So it was surprising to hear that he had back surgery after the season, and that was one of the reasons why he's here, but he's continuing to rehab. So that one was a little surprising. They didn't seem to be too concerned, but again, as soon as those guys are ready to go, they can take them off PUP.
Mickey, yesterday in the opening press conference, Jerry got emotional. He's gotten emotional before, but do you sense like a real sense of like, man, I'm getting older. I don't know how many of these I have left, and they better get to making hay towards the Super Bowl.
Well, hell, we're all getting older, right? Yeah. No, I think, he's just, when you, and you guys aren't there yet, but when you get older, you get a little more sensitive about things. And you get a little bit more emotional about stuff that maybe 10, 15 years ago, didn't affect you as much. So I think that's kind of one of the things that's kind of been hitting him the last couple of years when he gets emotional. But I think the other thing it just tells you how much this all means to him. He got emotional about things being back to normal almost, and we're back here in training camp, and there's fans going to be as they were today for the first practice, and he's hanging out with the guys and with the team, and it's nearly normal, not quite, just because of all the protocols the NFL and the NFLPA have put on the teams. But yeah, he got emotional over that, and I've seen him talk not quite that emotionally about the Jimmy deal. And it would be the first time he's really kind of, not so eloquently, right, said he kind of screwed things up a little bit, and he should have had a deference to, their kind of tug of war that was going on just to keep everything good. And I had never, usually I've heard all his stories. I had never heard the Switzer story before. That was hilarious.
That's a classic.
Right? And I could see him doing that, because I see Switzer doing that, because Switzer is older, right? Yep. He was their coach when they were at Arkansas. And it's like, you two little goofballs, what are you doing? It was great. It was a great story. And I'm sure HBO should pay extra for getting those sound bites for Hard Knocks.
Mickey, I saw a few minutes ago where former Texas defensive back HOlton Hill, who was last with the Vikings, is working out with the Cowboys, which is not unusual during the training camp setting. I know they got a spot open on their roster. Do you have any particular thoughts about HOlton Hill or them taking a look at him?
Yeah, I wish I had a great thought about him, but I really don't. I mean, in this type of, at this time of year, think about it. Every team, you can do the math for me. 32 times 90.
Jeez, 2,800.
That's almost. That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And this guy is not on a roster, so the guys don't fall through the cracks. So to me, it's you got a roster spot. Yeah, you probably had scouting reports on a guy like that, and you just bring him in for a workout and see how they do. Hey, look, I've seen guys come in here for workouts and they were in such bad shape. The scouts were so mad at the eight. You let this guy come in here to do this and waste my time. So hopefully, the guy is ready to go and they got an open spot. So you get in a training camp. You never know when you can put something on tape.
What about Jerry yesterday also playing to Hard Knocks? And part of that was him feeding Hard Knocks with some things that he was saying.
Oh, yeah. I think that, part of the F-bombs that he dropped probably had, a little bit to do with knowing that, okay, we're going to give you something. But the other thing, he understands the value of Hard Knocks, not just for the Cowboys' sake, but for the league's sake, to grab some attention, to grab some eyeballs, to make sure that, the NFL, no matter what's going on, doesn't fade into the background, especially with the Olympics coming up, right? So, there's a little showman in him, absolutely. But, the way I looked at it, that was an hour of gold yesterday, because we just haven't been around him that much. The draft, maybe. We had kind of in-person press conferences, Dak's hiding, but other than that, David, there's guys walking around here. I got no idea who they are because we haven't done any interviews. We haven't done any one-on-one interviews. It was like when they're in their street clothes walking around here, I was going, they should have name tags on so we know who they are, or at least put a number on.
That's kind of like it was with us when we finally got in front of some players at Baylor. If you did not have a jersey number on, or they weren't obvious somebody who weighed 350 or whatever, then it was that way for me back during the spring. Mickey Spagnola with us, DallasCowboys.com.
Mickey, they were very strong. Jerry and Steven very strong on the vaccination thing, that they're going to be well past 85%, and they kind of want to be a trailblazer in that. How much do you think that if you're one of the guys who's holding out and you're on the bubble, the roster bubble, and you're just not going to get the vaccine, that might be the thing that goes, all right, well, see ya?
Well, the good thing is for the guys that the two third rounders that hadn't signed their contracts, they both got them done on Tuesday. So that eliminated the holdout part. But I'm thinking if I'm not vaccinated and got to make a decision, and I'm a borderline player, deep and who to cut, I'm gone because they can't take a chance on me. The NFL hasn't come out, not that I've seen, with a COVID-19 IR list like they did last year, right? Remember, it was and the IR was just 3 weeks, and then you can go off, and come back on. They haven't said they're going to do that. So to me, if you test positive, they're not obligated, legally obligated to keep you, and so let me put it this way. There's so many incentives for these guys to get vaccinated that if it was me, I'd be running to CVS right now, down the block, and get my shot, or at least get the first one. They've got to get tested every day. The guys are unvaccinated. They got to wear masks around here. They can't eat with the team. They're not supposed to travel with the team either to games. They can't leave the premises. You can go out to dinner. Can't have any visitors. So that would be enough for you. And now with the new thing that came out today about, forfeiting paychecks if you cause an outbreak and you're unvaccinated, gosh, I just don't know. I don't get it. But I was young once, I guess.
Yeah, Mickey, this is your 36 counting last year. That's great. I know
Yes.
that. I know how. So give us a little. Is there any kind of fog coming in from the coast? Is it 75? What's it like?
This morning when I went off for my bike ride, when I came back, I felt like I kind of worked up a little bit of a sweat, and I'm going, well, what's the deal? And I'm sure it was low 60s. The sun was out pretty strong. There was no. Well, right now, it's not a marine layer. It's just clouding up a little bit, so the sun is not as intense as it was when we had the our time 10 o'clock press conference with Mike McCarthy, and then watching the practice for the next 2 hours. But it's kind of cooled off right now. I haven't checked the temperature. My guess is it's low 70s.
I know one thing. There were times
little chilly here,
Yeah, there were times in the evening we got to go, and I know you as well. In the evening, you better have had kind of a light jacket at times because when that baby came popping in and it got a little bit cool, it did. It was beautiful, but
and you know what they've done, David? So Mike McCarthy wants the big practice. So the big practice used to take place when Jason was here. They go about 3 o'clock, 3:30. And it would last to 5:30, 6, and by the time we got done with interviews on the field, it's 6:30. And you needed, but Mike's turned it around. The main practice is at 11, and then they do the little walkthrough thing later on. But we're not allowed to attend that. Fans aren't allowed either. But 11 to 1. This is prime time for the weather, and you don't have to go run for a jacket. And decision out here in the morning is it short sleeves or long sleeves.
Wow.
And it's although the locals tell me that when the heat wave hit the Northwest, that the temperatures here in Oxnard actually got to 90 degrees for a couple of days.
I don't know.
they were miserable. And I said, "Oh, you don't know misery with heat."
I'm telling you right now, they don't have any idea, just like we don't know about some of the things they experience. Mickey, thank you. Mickey Spagnola.
Okay.
DallasCowboys.com with us on Thursday, or if any kind of breaking news with the Cowboys as well. When we come back, Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. SicEm365.